Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kalika and you're gonna be a spicier person after watching this video. Life ruining revenge, 6 years in the making. TLDR at the end. English is my first language and I'm on mobile. Not sure if this fits here, but it seems pretty nuclear to me. Now that that's out of the way, the backstory. I have had an on-again, off-again relationship with this girl since junior high. We've constantly been in each other's lives, even to this day we still talk. I thought I was in love with her, shocker, I wasn't. But in high school, things got pretty serious between us, and the more serious we got, the worse we treated each other when we fought. It was the most toxic relationship I have ever been in, but we're actually great friends now. At the time I was working stock crew at the mall toy store. Sometimes it was an early morning shift, sometimes it was overnight, so my sleep schedule was all messed up. We were dating and sleeping together pretty regularly my entire senior year. She had her circle of friends, I had mine, and they rarely intersected. Enter D-Head Kyle. Now D-Head Kyle gave a bad name to all other monster-chugging, drywall assaulting Kyles. He was physically and mentally abusive to his girlfriend, later wife. He manipulated his friends into letting him walk all over them. Got one girl hooked on pills after he got her pregnant so she would be forced to give the baby up. Just a next level scumbag. Kyle was part of both our circles. He was friends with a few acquaintances I had, and the girl was pretty close to his girlfriend. The girl and I had just had a really bad fight a few days before and had made up in our usual way. As I was getting ready to go to bed for work the next morning, my phone went off. It was a text from Kyle, followed by 3 pictures. One nude of my girlfriend, one of my girlfriend and his, and the last one only half loaded, but it was clearly a picture of my girlfriend giving him a blowjob. I was furious. But as I was already graduated, I wouldn't run into him again to take my rage out in the traditional way, so I just said forget it and moved on with my life. I was still mad at the girl for cheating on me again. This happened multiple times on both ends, so it was forgiven pretty quickly. So we fought it out a few times and eventually made up when she told me the whole story. Kyle had told her I was sleeping with his girlfriend's sister or something, and that this was how she should get back at me. Now, was it petty and dumb? Absolutely. But he wasn't so bright and the story wasn't so far-fetched that she didn't believe him. She told me that since it was all bull on his end, she was done with both of them and we went on with our lives. The start of the long game. A few years go by, the girl has moved to another state, but we still keep in touch, and out of the blue, Cal's wife hits me up on the Book of Faces. We talk about how life has been and whatnot, where we live and such. Turns out she's just down the street from me. We keep talking every so often when she texts one day asking for a favour. I'm not working that day, and bored out of my mind, so I oblige and run a pack of smokes down to her since she's out and can't get more because of her kid. I get to her apartment and we hang out for a bit talking. We head out to the patio for a cigarette and in the daylight her shirt is almost completely see-through. I make an offhand comment about it and without a second thought she pulls her shirt off. We go back inside and go to town on each other, on her and Cal's bed. We keep the affair going a few weeks and then just kind of stop. At this point, I felt my revenge was complete. I had this guy's wife on his bed, and he won't know till they get in another huge fight. I wipe my hands of the drama and go about my day. Fast forward another few years, my band had just finished a huge show before we went on tour, and as I'm doing the meet and greet thing at our merch booth, I get a Facebook message from Kyle, before the quarantined non-friend messages. Kyle was in the hospital. He said it was serious and had a question. Did you ever spend time with Hannah? I'm looking at the text thinking of all the ways I could mess with his head, but decided to probe a little by saying, I think that's something you should ask her first. He replies, I did, and she told me something happened at our apartment. I need to know if it's true. So I think for a second and send him 2 pictures we took, one of her giving me oral and one of the aftermath. He just replies, thanks, and blocked me. I think, good, now the D knows what it feels like, and go about my merry. But this story isn't done yet, friendos, not by a long shot. See, unbeknownst to me, Hannah and Kyle had another kid around 9 months after our affair, and it wasn't Kyle's. From the pictures, it was obvious that we didn't use protection, and there was no pullout, so he immediately suspected it was mine. Hannah knew better, since she was already pregnant when we started, but just barely. Kyle viewed me as the enemy ever since high school because I stole all of his friends, so knowing that he was raising the child of someone he hated just burned him up inside. He turned to hard drugs and became a raging alcoholic, tried to get information on where I lived and kept trying to get revenge on me for all of this, but failed miserably. Lost his job, his family, what few long-time friends he had, Basically, his life just crashed around him. About 2 years ago, I reconnected with another ex from high school and she told me the aftermath. What Kyle tried to do, what ended up happening to his life. Hannah took him for everything in their divorce. And last I heard, he's locked up for robbing a liquor store while carrying methamphetamines and a loaded pistol, which landed him in for about 12 years. Wow, okay, so that is some crazy revenge, but it really sounds like pretty much everyone involved in this story is just a toxic mess. It's high school drama with everyone is cheating on each other, there's no trust in any of their relationships, but it's not high school. They're all adults and there's kids involved. Damn. Crappy customer gets vandalized. Not sure if this belongs in regular revenge, pro revenge, nuclear revenge, or justice boner, but I'll post it anyways, and hope the Reddit moderator gods don't smite me. I work at a restaurant where the employees are overworked and underpaid. Despite this, everyone is cool with each other and management. The evils that mess up our day are the customers and our by-the-book district manager who drops by every now and then. For about 3 months, we had someone in the men's bathroom come in and smear an ungodly amount of fecal matter all over the handicap stall of the men's bathroom. Even sometimes they'll fling scat outside the stall onto another toilet or a wall. Of course, management sends one of us peons to clean it up. Fortunately for me, I never had to as I worked the cash register. The one co-worker, who we'll call Arthur, was who I'd call the personification of pettiness. He was crazy and had a smart mouth and an explosive temper when pushed too far. Me and Arthur were cool. I never had problems with him, but management always had him clean out the bathroom when it was poo smeared. One day, Arthur came in on his day off to get some food. After placing his order, he went to use the restroom. While there, he heard someone moan and groan having a massive crap storm in the handicap stall. He didn't think much of it, even when he smelled the god-awful scent. An older gentleman around 50 exited the stall. Arthur came out and noticed the smell was even stronger than before. Curious, he peeked into the stall and noticed the poop smears all over the place. Infuriated, he asked the old man if he had done that, and why would he even? The old guy said with a scat-eating grin, "Look, I don't care. I just want to ruin some poor effer's day." Arthur was set the F off, as he was that poor effer. Initially, Arthur wanted to clock the guy right then and there, but in his own words, time slowed down around him and all he saw was red. Arthur didn't say anything to the man. Instead, he washed his hands and sat back down waiting for his food. He sat on the opposite end of the restaurant, but the location provided an overview of the entire floor. He could see the old guy at his booth, munching away like nothing happened. Of course, someone complained that there was poop smeared all over, and one of the other employees that Arthur was cool with had to go and clean up the mess. Arthur caught the old guy looking at the situation and grinning to himself. Seeing that, Arthur thought the man needed to be taught a hard and hurtful lesson. The old guy finished his food and drove home. Little did he know that Arthur was following him. He ends up following the old guy to his home and stakes it out for an hour. Arthur does this for a couple of weeks, following him home, learning about this guy as quick as possible. Even on days off, he drove over to where he lived and followed him to both the restaurant and to the old guy's company. Arthur had gotten a rough idea of this guy's work and sleep schedule, so it was time to enact his revenge. Going by the information he required about the guy's activities and the neighbourhood he lived in, Arthur figured out that this guy lived well enough to survive, but had no means of backup if something were to happen. Arthur had a 3-part plan for him. The first act. In the dead of night, Arthur went to the old guy's house. He slashed one of his tyres. The old guy drove a jeep, so Arthur opened the spare tyre compartment and poked a small hole in it. The old guy woke up the following morning to find his tyre flat. According to Arthur, the old man was on the phone freaking out because he was going to be running late for work and really didn't have the money to get a new tyre. Not only that, to Arthur's surprise, the old guy didn't know how to change a tyre. The old guy spent nearly 2 hours in the hot Texas morning heat on the phone with someone on how to put the spare tyre on. This is important for later in the act. At this point, Arthur is foaming at the mouth with excitement. The old guy drove on the spare to work, only to find out that afternoon that the spare went flat. Even more frustrated, the old man drives the car to a nearby auto shop to get both tyres serviced. Later that night, this time Arthur slashed 3 out of 4 of his tyres. Remember when old guy was on the phone getting instructions on how to get this tyre fixed? Well, before that, he had called his car insurance company to get someone to come out and fix his tyre. He was very loud, and the gist of the conversation was that the insurance company wouldn't come out to fix his tyre and couldn't get them insured because all 4 tyres weren't blown out. They said it would be easier and least expensive to just change the tyre himself and get another. So, later that night, Arthur slashed the other 3 tyres save for the new one. Arthur wasn't there that following morning, but he knew the old guy surely had a meltdown. That, and he didn't show up to the restaurant for a month. The second act. Piggybacking on the first act, Arthur would regularly check up on the old guy's car. When all the tyres were replaced, Arthur went to the old guy's house late at night and poured 1.5 gallons of sugar and bleach into the gas tank. His car had one of the manual gas covers instead of the modern button inside his car, so no one was none the wiser. In the morning during Arthur's stakeouts, the old man started up his car and left for work, only to get halfway there before the car stopped working, so the old guy had the car towed to his house. The final act. Arthur got the old guy's name from the phone conversation and searched him on Facebook. He downloaded a couple of good pictures of him and created a few flyers. Due to the old guy's car being unusable, he wasn't able to come to the restaurant to do his usual crap, pun intended. Arthur printed the flyers out and posted them all over the restaurant. The flyers had a picture of the guy, his name, and described what he did in the bathrooms for the past few months. A few days later, the old guy comes in with a friend. The friend goes ahead and orders, while the old guy runs to the bathroom. One of the co-workers spotted him and notifies everyone there, including the friend. Old guy starts to do his thing in the stall until he sees the flyer with his face on it. He storms out of the bathroom, flyer in hand, angrily demanding for the person responsible to step up to him. Arthur steps up in his uniform and claims responsibility. The old guy begins threatening to sue for slander and emotional damages and other offences, to which Arthur simply says, with an equally scat-eating grin, "Look, I don't care. I just want to ruin some poor effer's day." The old guy's soul momentarily leaves his body as he realises that the same guy he confessed his crimes to weeks ago was one of the employees. The managers arrive and ban the old guy from the restaurant. Old guy threatens to ram his car into the windows, to which Arthur says, "Is your car a unicycle? Better check your tyres, you poor effer." Old guy then realises that Arthur was behind the attacks. Banned from the restaurant, no hard evidence of Arthur's vandalism and extreme embarrassment, old guy decides to bow out. Haven't seen or heard from him since. Unfortunately, fast forward a month and 2 nights ago, Arthur got arrested from fighting an off-duty officer at a convenience store. This story blows my mind. Why on earth would someone do that in a bathroom, first of all? It's absolutely disgusting. Second of all, why would Arthur admit to slashing the guy's tyres? He should have just kept that quiet and let Arthur wonder who it was or what happened. I would have loved for Arthur to have kept quiet about the confession. Let the old guy go into the stall and do his business, and then confront him and make him clean it up. Okay, so that's all for r/NuclearRevenge. I really hope you did enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. My Twitter, Discord, and Patreon links are in the description, and any support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching.